What's going on, guys? Welcome to this week's RWBY Rewind. I'm Mike Hughes, and I'm here to talk RWBY with the awesome peeps from the RWBY Fan Page. So
Hello.
Here we have Hamster,
Hello.
Ranoko,
Hello.
Chi,
Yo.
and Sam.
Hi.
So guys, thank you so much for being with us. So what'd you guys think of this episode in the last couple weeks here? So we haven't talked in a couple weeks, so what'd you think?
Oh, I'll let you guys go first.
That's a lot of work.
It really is.
I gooed my tidy whities. I'm just gonna say that.
The Arctic
Okay, you're
Ocean.
No, not even kidding. I think it was one of the better episodes that they put out recently, not just in quality, but also in dialogue and character development.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That Yang character development. Oh,
Yeah.
Finally, right?
I know, I was begging for that. Because Yang just seemed to be that character that was only like there for fun. You really didn't know why she was there, but still.
The token badass.
Oh
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
The party girl.
That
So-
one girl you just favored.
While we're on the subject of Yang, can I bring something up, or shall we wait for a bit more?
Sure.
No,
Absolutely not. You can't talk at all. No, go for it.
Okay. So, was anybody else very curious as to how Yang and Junior seem to be friends? I mean, I get the whole she was his essentially dominatrix of sorts, but they seemed rather close, even for a I will hurt you if you don't give me info.
I'm
Well,
pretty
you know,
No, go ahead.
he did kind of owe her a drink. I mean,
So there's.
Well, I mean, if
probably,
there's one thing that after-school specialists has taught us, it's that once you beat up the bully, you guys are just best friends.
that actually happened to me.
All things considered, I think it was more or less the fact that if he didn't do what she wanted, she would probably wreck his pub for a second time.
I don't think he would
True.
want that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she even acknowledged that a little bit and walked in like a badass.
And not only that, but his character
second
sort of
time.
lends towards the businessman kind of thing, and he knows when it's time to fold, as it were.
Mm-hmm. Well, the nice thing about that, too, it was a nice callback to a trailer and not just a previous scene from the last season. It was a callback to something that we had no idea what its place was in the overall series.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
So, hinting at some sort of importance for Ruby and the White Cliffs, I believe they're called.
White Fang.
No, not the White Fang. You know,
Wait, what are we talking?
the red trailer where she was on
Oh,
the cliff?
yes.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Maybe that might actually have some importance, or they might return there at some point.
Well,
Possibly.
considering that they've mentioned something from all of the trailers, with the exception of Ruby's in a couple of episodes, I think it's more than likely.
Well, even in just this one episode, we saw a lot more information about the White Fang in Blake's trailer that she had, such as even just going down to the mask and why they wear the masks of the Grim.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how
Alright,
the original
so-
owner was dark, I believe they said.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of dark.
What do you expect?
All right, so reining it in a little bit, what would you guys say? We'll go one at a time. Would you say what the overall grade was? So I went with an A-. So Hamster, what'd you think?
Same thing, A-.
Yep. Ranoko?
I want to give it a B- because from an outsider's point of view, the animation seems both kind of choppy, and I've heard at least several people say the writing style seems a bit fanfic-ish, and also it seems that right now they're really catering to the fans right now. They're not actually trying to develop a story, they just want to give a bit of fan service first. But Rooster Teeth being Rooster Teeth, they like to get the fun stuff out of the way first before they get into the heavy drama. So that's why I'm saying a B-, because they could have done much better, but obviously and hopefully they will do better.
Right, and that's not a bad point, actually, and we'll get into that a little bit more. So, Chi, what do you think?
Well, personally, I look more into the storyline itself, and for that and the character design, I like it overall, so I'm gonna give it an A. Cause
Solid A?
yeah, solid A. Cause
Okay.
personally, I like story development, and how this story is going right now. I think it's on the right track at one point, because like they're slowly like pacing up to like the building parts, and you can slowly like kind of trace in, but then there are some times that it's kind of predictable, and it makes people like already say, "Oh, I know this already. It's already done for me. I already know this." But at the same time, there's always like a little backsplash to it every time they think they know something, and then they kind of re-render it into something else. So that's something I like.
Yeah, just to build on that point itself, there's actually something to be said about a lot of people who make plans or predict something in the future, and for when it to come true, they sort of get that, yes, I predicted something kind of feeling.
Yeah. It's like that
validation.
excitement. You want that to know, like, oh, I know something. That's nice.
Yeah, so Rooster Teeth and their not-so-subtle hints towards Penny being a pretty good example.
Yeah, so we're going to get to Penny. Penny's a big bag of issues right there. All right, so thanks, Gia. And then, Sam, what do you think? What grade would you give it?
I'd give it Ranoko's rating as a solid B minus.
Yeah.
Because of the constant fan service that they've been giving into. I don't know, I find it slightly annoying because of all the shippy moments. I'm not saying it's wrong. I just find it kind of annoying how Monty said it would mostly be based upon action and kind of adventure. But they're kind of hinting at all this shippy stuff, and I'm not the romance type of person, so I'm not really into it. And also, there's always been the people's complaints about, how the animation looks kind of whack, and, but I think they've kind of built on that. I think the animations are a lot more cleaner than the first volume, a lot more cleaner. The facial expressions come across more easily, but
yeah.
I think
the animation's really cleaned up, yeah.
RWBY's facial, that whole thing going on there, it's pretty sweet. I like the way that's going on. It's flowing very nicely. But I think the whole point of the fan service and even the ship names, I mean...
they're getting really corny.
I know, like, Ice Flower. Oh, they're so close. But yeah, that's pretty much the reason I get it. I give it a B minus.
Yeah,
she was super proud. She was super proud. She was like, guys, we're gonna name this, and this is that. Don't be a nerd.
Ice Flower. Guys, Ice Flower.
Intellectual. Intellectual.
Nerd!
So let's talk the good of the episode first, because, you don't want to get too negative too fast. So let's talk what was good about the episode. Personally, I mean, we already talked about the callback to Junior in the previous season a little bit, but also, huge shout out to Michael frickin' Jones for his voice acting. For a guy that really hasn't done much in the past, I have to say, this episode really highlighted some of his inherent skill that he had with that.
Yeah, and if it's any sort of evidence towards his skill, he's going to be voicing a character in Fairy Tales.
Oh, Sting. Sting.
Yo, people are already fangirling
Episode
over his
151.
voice right now.
Episode 151 is his official VA for his
I'd
English.
like to point out, some people have mentioned that his rage quits as well as the Let's Plays were voice acting training, essentially.
That's true.
No, that is
he's
true.
got a very specific voice.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, why is there a cat? Damn it!
Now,
Cats!
Since we're on the topic of voice acting, I think actually Aaron Zek, Blake's voice actor, has really started to get in the swing of things this time around.
Yeah,
Ooh,
definitely.
yes, I agree.
She has gotten a lot better from sort of the monotone voice that Blake originally had to a lot more emotion and feeling to it, and I think it's really endeared her character towards me. I don't know about you.
Yeah. Well, and you can see that biggest difference just by comparing it to the Penny character. Just never mind the character, we'll get into her a little bit more soon enough, but the voice acting with Penny is just a little bit more stiff, and part of that might just be because, she's a robot.
Yeah.
Spoilers, guys. But
I feel like there could be a little bit more there.
yeah, it's just kind of weak.
Like a robot with
Salutations, friend!
Yeah, it's just... Exactly. It's like sometimes it's kind of stiff, other times it's kind of like human-like. It's like, okay, you gotta pick one or the other.
Yeah, at least with Blake you can actually hint at her sarcasm.
Yeah.
A little bit. That was actually pretty good.
You did notice one thing, though, when I was rewatching the episode not 20 minutes ago, was that Penny shifted back and forth between what I think is her facade, the robotic appearance, with the salutations and being this really, I guess, obtuse kind of character. You don't really know where she's coming from. And when she's talking with RWBY and the others, she actually sort of turns into a genuine girl for a little bit.
That's
Pinocchio
true. That's
reference.
an interesting point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It
Or,
might actually
maybe-
mean something.
Maybe the Xenosaga character. I cannot remember for the life of me what that character's name is, the robot. But anyways.
Kind of like
The
an
big
Astro
robot?
Boy, Mega Man kind of thing.
Other good stuff, guys. What do you think?
Monty's fight scenes.
Ooh, those got completely better with the nice, good,
You know,
animation type thing.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually starting to get the idea that as Monty has delegated some of his fight animations to other people, because there's little tips and tricks that Monty has with his animations that aren't appearing as frequently.
How so? What's something in there?
Okay, well, for instance, if you watch any of the trailers, you notice that his characters have almost no what's called, I guess, hard tweening, which is tweening from one position to another without any sort of ease in or ease out. Monty likes to do a good portion of his things, as far as I can tell, frame by frame. And the animations of some of the combat actions, say, for instance, when a character is either standing up from being knocked down, or when Yang was being swung around by Blake during the very ending of the latest episode. You just notice these little things where it's a very sharp, very sudden movement versus the smooth flow that Monty generally has. So
yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah.
So just these little things, it means that his animators are getting a whole lot more practice with regards to animation itself and learning how to do a specific style, because at least when you're doing animation, you want to have all the animators doing a very similar type of animation. You don't want to break it up so that you've got one person, say, doing Dragon Ball Z style animation, another one doing, I don't know, Naruto, or insert some other 4Kids American animation in.
4Kids.
Yeah, so you want to keep everything standard, and branching out like that, having his animators do the fight scenes is actually a really good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay, so another thing that was pretty good, I thought, they did some really good mounting tension. They built tension up really well, and it was a longer episode so that they were able to do that. But in particular, I mean, we talked about the fight a little bit, but just building up to the fight, you had the nice little precursors by showing I forget what it's called, but just for the sake of the conversation, I'm going to call it Freckles 2.0.
Fair enough.
Okay.
And it was good little precursor setting up for that. It's very suggestive considering they got those robots. So, interesting little story technique there. But really what really just sealed the deal for me, the final scene with Wukong and Neptune, where they're just kind of sitting there. It was a nice little juxtaposition between the two tones.
Yeah,
Nerds.
It's a tension breaker.
Yeah. It was just a nice little way of breaking it up.
I think
The
it's
Weiss
like
pun.
comedy humor is like on the side. Once everything that's serious is like gone down, there's just that little comedy section where it's just like, where'd the other go?
Mm-hmm.
But the Weiss pun.
No, the Weiss pun.
The Weiss pun. I guess you could say she made our plans fall apart.
Sammy,
Can't get over it.
0 out of 10, didn't get the joke.
Sammy,
Yeah, see, we
watch
just,
out. I will find you.
We lost subscribers just from that
I'm so
one little
sorry.
comment, yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
It's not my fault.
Sammy,
We
that's
can
too
cut it
much.
out. We call it editing.
What? Rude.
No, this is like-
Yeah, but I mean, that's the other thing, and even the Wukong and Neptune scene plays into that as well. Although that was a really strong scene, I do wonder what you guys think. Do you think that they're kind of pandering to the Rooster Teeth fan base a little too much? I mean, you had even just the noodle shop that they were at, a simple walk. And they had
I
a
was
bunch
so
of
freaked out
Easter
by
eggs
that
even just in the first episode. So what do you all think?
I'm a little
No,
offended by
that's too
that
much.
little noodle
There's so
shop.
much R&B versus references.
There's so much things that are so wrong about that noodle shop.
See, when I saw the noodle shop, I didn't notice a simple walk. I noticed
I noticed that was the first thing I
what I
noticed.
thought of with
Me too.
Ichiraku's ramen from the Naruto.
Haha,
Because
Naruto.
it's Sun, he has his light clones, and then at the ramen store, that's when I
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not bad.
I
Yeah.
actually thought about that too because you look at the back of it, it's kind of like
There's too many references.
Sasuke and then Naruto, and then Neptune and Sun.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Great
And,
stuff.
I mean, it's Naruto, blonde, Sun, blonde. Both of them are kind of monkeyish. They both like ramen. Yada yada yada.
Wait, guys, have you seen the guy that works in the ramen shop?
Yep, that was the old
Yeah,
man
it's the old
from
man.
Dusk Till
Yeah,
Dawn.
he seems to have a lot of jobs. How many jobs does this man
For
have?
that guy.
He's the cabbage guy from Avatar: The Last
Oh my god,
Airbender.
yes.
He's just gonna show up
My
everywhere.
noodles.
My cabbages! Oh my god.
Alright, so on that note, we're going to open up the floodgates now. Let's talk about some of the cons, some of the kind of weaker sides of it. What do y'all think?
Animation quirks and
Anti-gravity.
and
Anti-gravity. The anti-gravity is a huge issue for me.
There's no laws of physics.
That's a huge issue
On
for
the
me.
laws of physics,
well,
Junior's Club, those doors are sliding, I believe, right? So,
You can't see
Yeah.
the line.
so if the doors are sliding, how does an impact going perpendicular from the openings, how does that knock them open?
Shoot it open. I don't.
have
Physics.
you ever accidentally kicked a sliding door? They're really easy to knock off
Oh,
kilter.
fair enough.
Same.
Yeah,
Nerds. Just kidding.
Oh, rude.
not gonna quote Piccolo anytime soon.
Oh no.
Stop there.
I
Stop
think
there.
my biggest gripe in this show, in this season, this entire series for that matter, is the rather jarring animation that they've got. You've got really, really smooth animation at one point, and then it just goes between that and a really chunky tween fest. But to be honest, everything else sort of makes up for it. And I animated for a little while as a hobby, so I kind of notice it. But it's honestly pretty good overall, considering the 9 months of pre-production that they did has certainly cleaned up a lot of stuff. But little things there and there, just picky points.
Yes.
Yeah, I personally thought I mentioned it earlier, gonna get into it now. I thought that the Penny character is kind of weak. I mean,
Oh my
considering
God.
where we left her at, she's just kind of boring. Kind of expected more, and although she's supposed to be this intriguing, like, ooh, what's Penny's story? I really couldn't care less.
She bothers me a lot. That character bothers me.
Um,
I love her character design. I think that the whole point of revealing that she was a robot was so weak
That thing
because
Everybody
it was
knew.
super obvious. It was like not knowing Blake was a faunus.
Yeah,
It was-
even worse than
the
that.
build up was horrible. Like
Yeah.
you have Blake trying, like everybody suspecting that Blake was a faunus, considering episode 8 when her ears twitch, which wasn't very noticeable, but at some point, people started to notice it.
Yeah.
Penny being a robot, everybody kind of noticed that after her, very stiff movements.
salutations.
She was friend, and then you have this like one point where Cinder becomes a student, and you're like, oh well, that's a surprise. That's something I didn't expect.
Exactly.
Build-ups
yeah,
are kind of really bad.
I think that's the question that's on everybody's minds right now.
That is the question on Sammy's mind.
What up with Cinder?
Don't mess
What
with my
age
bae.
on Cinder?
Don't mess with the bae.
In case it matters at all, our friend Sam over there is otherwise the Cinder admin. So
Okay.
Praise the Cinder admin for
praise
Praise
the
Cinder
Cinder
Paul.
admin.
Praise
We'll
Cinder
step
Paul.
on you.
I love it.
Yes.
Oh, I will step on you for a reward.
Here's a theory, though. Excuse me. Here's a theory regarding Penny, though. I think she's going to have a lot of potential, not just because right now they're really not doing too much with her and her personality is a little weak, but I'm getting the feeling that this war that was sort of half mentioned and half not by Penny and the other characters is going to cause Penny to quite literally leap into the forefront of things, and she's, in heart and soul, a girl. A little girl, almost like a child, because she hasn't been anywhere else. She hasn't done a lot of things that normal people have. And that can be sort of interpreted as sheer innocence. So her loss of innocence, if you want to take it any other way, could be sort of played up in maybe Volume 3 or Volume 4 if and when this war starts on ahead.
Totally.
Or
I agree.
Actually, I was actually talking to Sammy about this the other day when the 3rd episode came out, where Penny reveals that she was a robot, right? So I was thinking, since before Penny told Ruby that she was a robot, right? She first said like, you are like my best friend, right? The way she said that, it makes me seem like the way she's gonna be losing her innocence is when Ruby is going to be like the one that kind of like lies behind her back without actually trying to, but like actually telling her secret out, and then Penny would be like heartbroken. Her would be like, I thought you were my friend, why would you do this to me, kind of thing.
I'm not sure. I don't really see Ruby lying.
Yeah,
She's
that's
got
true,
this-
but like,
She sort of got the same thing as Penny does in that she has a lot of innocence.
Yeah. Well, and because of that, their interactions are just kind of
awkward.
stiff and kind of cliched. Like, what I can't forget it. It's ingrained itself into my brain. Penny's line just in the last in episode 3, I believe it was like, "It's not safe to talk here." It's like, wow, could you have found a more cliched, unoriginal way of saying that?
Penny. It's Penny.
Yeah, I guess. But come on, salutations. That's original.
That is
Salutations,
very
friend.
original.
About Penny,
Yeah, really.
She seems to be wearing an emotional mask of sorts because whenever she's dealing with people from her father or Ironwood, she seems very typical robot who doesn't really know what they're doing. But then around RWBY, she seems more like a girl, an actual human. And so I don't know how I got this train of thought, but I feel like there's maybe some sort of disorder for her father or Ironwood. Like, they're very nice to her, and so she thinks they're nice, but in reality, they're actually
Right.
sort of a bad guy or morally questionable.
Well, she is combat ready, hinting at she's
Unintended.
going to be used as a weapon no matter what.
Right. Well, and again, just kind of bringing up those two persona things that we were talking about earlier, and then bringing it up just now. It's very clear that Penny has the potential to be an incredibly complex and interesting character. I just think that she isn't quite fulfilling that potential yet.
Maybe
No,
we're
she's
not,
not.
like at that point yet. That's it.
No.
No, I don't think she's at that point yet. No.
I think
Maybe
that-
later.
I think
Yeah,
we're probably
just
just
make
going to go through what they did with Team Juniper in that they're going to introduce her a little bit, talk about her a little bit, get her personality on the board, and then leave her
Could be,
for the rest of the story and have her come back later.
All right, so other weak points. Moving on a little bit. What do we see? Other little kind of weak points in the episode.
Is it a weak point that I want to dive bomb tackle Ruby and hug her?
That is very
That
weak
is a
point.
problem.
It's okay. I
That
have the
is
same
too
problems
adorable.
with Cinder. I have very big. I have serious issues with Cinderfall.
As serious
Oh,
issues as
we
well.
just mentioned Cinder
Serious
Falls.
issues.
So I'd like to point out Summer Rose, Winter Snee.
No,
Cinder
don't take my
Fall.
thing. No,
Where is spring?
no.
That is Sammy's idea.
Where
Sammy,
was
did you
God?
freaking bomb
I had
that
so
thing?
many notes on that on Tumblr. Oh my god.
Ay. These people. I mean, if you ever go on Facebook, you'll notice the interactions between them. It's kind of ridiculous at times. I love it.
I don't know how I feel about this.
You should feel happy. Now smile.
Don't think, feel.
Don't think,
Don't
obey.
obey. Don't think, Sharpay. Don't
Don't
think,
think,
Olay.
okay.
That was way too much for me.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Back to the point in question. I honestly can't think of any sort of little sticky points here and there. I mean, we've covered the basics, honestly.
Yeah.
All right, well, what did you think of the episode? Let us know in the comments section below. This has been your RWBY Rewind for this week. Huge shout out to the RWBY Fan Page members here for joining me. It's been a lot of fun. Give them some love on Facebook, everyone. I'm Mike Hughes, so hit me up on Facebook and
Ciao.
Twitter, and I will see you all next time. Thanks.
Bye.